All right, thank you everyone for participating today. We will now begin with an opening statement from Coach Brad Brownell and then go to questions. Please use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. And one more time, please make sure you are identified on here by both name and affiliation. Coach would ask you to please lean into the microphone as you answer each question and would first ask you to just start off with a brief opening statement and then we'll go to questions.
Yeah, congratulations to Rutgers. I thought it was a great, this was tournament basketball. Their kids played extremely hard. I thought our guys did as well. Both teams very physical and aggressive defensively. The defense was better than the offense on both ends. I thought the difference in the game in the second half, they got some extra rebounds, and a lot of those led to some easy baskets. They had a couple, like the play at the end, they had a couple balls that just kind of seemed to find their way. We kind of went and trapped Baker there at the end, and all of a sudden we think we get kind of a half steal, and it bounces into somebody's hands, and they lay one in. And in a game like this where there's ebbs and flows and both teams making runs and competing hard, the easy baskets often are the difference. And give the Rutgers kids credit. I thought they got a couple more easy baskets than we did in the game, and that was the difference.
Okay, we'll go to questions from the media. Again, use the raise hand function to indicate you'd like to ask a question. We will start with Carter Hill from the fifth quarter. Carter, if you'll unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Coach. Just first off, what motivation does this add for the offseason? How will you remember this loss, and how will you carry that over into the offseason?
Really just young players having the opportunity to play in games like this. It wasn't a true NCAA atmosphere in terms of your hotel and band and fans and all the things that go with it. Some of the pomp and circumstance that you really want these kids to experience, a full house at your game. But it was a big stage. It was big time basketball. You could feel how competitive it was, and as a player, you should want to play in games like this, and so it should serve as motivation to not only play in games like this, but play well and win in advance. And so we talked about that very briefly with our young guys in the locker room, and obviously we're very grateful for our three seniors who have had outstanding careers.
Okay, next we'll go to Joseph Gorcho from WIS-TV. Joseph, unmute yourself and go ahead.
Coach, congratulations on a great season tonight. Clyde Trapp really tried to provide that spark. What did you see just in those moments hanging in the balance where you saw Clyde, a senior who's laid it all on the line for you for 4 years, show that willingness and that grit to keep this team from falling further behind in that second half?
Yeah, I thought Clyde was going to play well. He's practiced very well lately. His knee was bothering him in our Miami game in the ACC tournament, and he's had probably 3 games this year maybe where his knee has been a problem, and he just can't quite get it loose. But he felt great all week. I could tell just going into the game that I thought he had a lot of confidence. He did make some big shots at the end of the Miami game in the ACC tournament, and he played very well tonight. Played with a lot of confidence, swagger, aggressiveness, assertiveness, and made some big time shots for us when we needed it. Kept us in the game. Proud of our guys. We got down 9 or 11 there. 11 at one point. I think in the second half it looked like we were going to cave in, and our seniors wouldn't let that happen, and Clyde's a big part of that.
Next to Matt Connolly from the State. Matt, unmute yourself and go for it.
Brad, that last possession when Amir had the ball, can you take me through that? Did you see a walk right there? What did you see on that play?
Yeah, I don't think he traveled, no. I think he took 2 steps. I think there was contact, but it's a similar play. It's the exact same play we ran against Georgia Tech late in the game, and Amir did about the same thing and scored through a guy to cut it to 2 in that game. Clyde made a read. I probably wish he would have come for the handoff, but he didn't. He kind of thought he was going to get a back cut layup, so he went to the basket, and that, Amir didn't pass it, so might have clogged it up a little bit. But Amir still got his drive. He got, we were going to put it in our best player's hands. He's going to drive it to the basket and make a play for your team. That's what you do as a coach. You trust your guys. Unfortunately, they called travel. I'll look at it, but I don't think it was.
Other questions for Coach? If you have a question for Coach, please use the raise hand feature. We'll go back to Joseph Gorcho from WISTV. Joseph, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Coach, you mentioned your two seniors there, Sims and Trapp, and how they kept this team and willed this team. What have these two guys meant to this program from the day they stepped on campus to right now?
Yeah, they're terrific people. Both have been absolutely zero problems, and I mean zero, like not late, not anything. Good students, good players, and they've won a lot of games. They're part of a Sweet 16 team as freshmen. We represented the United States at the World University Games in the summer of 19. They won a gold medal. Won 20 games as sophomores. Would have won 20 games this year if we played a full season. Made 2 NCAA tournaments, NIT, World University Games champion. I mean, these guys have done a lot, and they do it. They handle their business like professional men. They're going to be great ambassadors of Clemson. These are the kind of guys you want to coach, and you hate to see go because of how easy they are to coach and how good of players they become. They've really developed. It's what you want your program to be about. Freshmen that bide their time and just are patient, coachable, and keep working. We've got a couple good young freshmen in our program right now that we really like, and we're hopeful that they'll do the same. We think they can be similar players, and but they've got to be patient. They got to work, and they got to be coachable, just like these guys were. And then you trust in your process, and you develop into a really good player.
Okay, next question from David Hood with TigerNet. David, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Coach, you'll obviously have time to look back on this in the coming days and weeks, but just at first blush, what are your thoughts about this season and being able to pull it off despite all of the restrictions and everything that went on, and being able to win 16 games, advance to an NCAA tournament? Would you, say, yeah, I think we had a really good year. We were successful, or what's your first blush look back at it?
Absolutely. I think it was successful, and I'm very thankful to our administrators for putting our team in a position to have a chance to play these games, protecting our players, really all the athletes at Clemson with the things they did to help, put them in individual rooms and give them space and protect them as best they can. I think we all would have taken, 20-plus game regular seasons and postseason and opportunities like this to play. And then just my guys are a joy to be around. I've got great kids. I've said this. We led the ACC in all academic team members. We finished whatever we did in the league, 10-6 in the league, made an NCAA tournament, and these kids have been absolutely, zero problems. They're a joy to coach. I'm proud of our program. I'm proud of what our program stands for, and it's that way because we have really good kids. We recruit good kids, and these kids, give us everything they have. As coaches, we try to love them up as much as we can, mentor them, and you hope that you have seasons like this for the older players in on your team so that they'll remember this, because this will be an experience that they'll remember. Unfortunately, it didn't end the way that we wanted it to. But, when it's all said and done, they're going to be very proud of all that they accomplished this season.
Next to Josh Needleman with the Charleston Post and Courier. Josh, unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hey, Brad. What went into that decision at the end to, instead of fouling there, just letting the guys play that on defense? Was that just trusting your guys there on defense to kind of make that stop?
with 37 seconds left. I think there was 37 seconds left when they called the travel. We had a foul to give, all that kind of stuff. We could have been a little more aggressive, maybe in a trap or two. I didn't. Their guard play is good. Their size was a factor in the game. I think, in the open court, their players are even better. And so I was very hesitant about opening the court in that situation and giving up a dunk. We chose, there's plenty of time left to still get a stop and transition back at them in the open court and make a play. They were going to use clock and have Geo Baker go, 1-4 flat against us late in the clock. And so we decided, let's disrupt in the half court. So we came and ran at him, and I'm anxious to watch the play. It looked like we got a chance to got a deflection on it. It got through and somehow bounced to their guy, and they laid it in and ended up being the difference. But I didn't want to press. I didn't want to, open the court up. We did think that we needed to come after Geo Baker there at the end, but, it didn't work.
Our next question to Larry Williams with Tigers Illustrated. Larry, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Brad, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was just wondering if you could elaborate on those defensive possessions that you couldn't close out. You mentioned that it seemed like the ball sort of bounced their way. Was it just purely that in your mind?
No, I'm sure it's not all that. This is a big, strong, physical team. These guys are big. They're athletic. They play really hard. Physically, they're bigger than we are at almost every position. And we faced that a lot this year in certain situations. And sometimes it's a problem. Rebounding, it's loose balls, whatever you want to call it. Like, we had some opportunities. We probably missed at least 2 opportunities, maybe 3 opportunities to take charges that we normally do that could have erased a basket. Really disappointed a couple guys that I thought had positions to do that. I'm sure their kids out-hustled us to a ball or two. But the other thing is, you're also part of what you're doing defensively is your spread. They've got you spread out, and they're such good one-on-one players that you have to put a man and a half in every gap. And so now you're not standing right next to the guy that you're blocking out. You're 15 feet away from that guy. And if you want to go stand next to your guy, then Geo Baker and Young are going to just go live in the lane and play over top of our little guards. And so because we have to get up in those gaps to help, we have longer blockouts. We have more challenging situations because their guys are going to get a little bit more of a running start occasionally. And so I'm sure when I look at the film, there'll be 2 or 3 times when guarding those guys off driving penetration and being in a gap was part of what was difficult about blocking them out because we're not standing right next to them. If that makes sense.
All right, Coach Brownell, thank you very much for your time today. We'll let you get back to the locker room.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
For the media members on here, we'll be joined momentarily by Clyde Trapp. Please use this time to raise or lower your hand as necessary, and we'll take questions for Clyde Trapp when he comes on. Okay, Clyde, thank you for joining us today. We're now joined by Clyde Trapp. Again, please use the raise hand function to indicate if you would like to ask a question. We will go first to David Hood with TigerNet. David, if you'll unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
Hey, Clyde, you guys, after falling behind, I think about 11 there, you made your run, just couldn't quite finish it out. What do you think the difference was there in those final 3 minutes and when you guys really didn't seem to find any kind of an offensive rhythm too?
Sorry, but before I answer any questions, I just want to express how proud I am of this team. We had a lot of adversity this year. Everybody against us, kind of to say, and just kind of want to say that I'm really proud of this team, this coaching staff, and our younger guys are this is something they should strive to live for and play in again. And I just wanted to say that I'm thankful for Coach Brownell and this opportunity. It's been great these 4 years, and like I said, I'm just so proud of this team, and yeah. So, can you repeat your question again? I'm sorry.
If you'll raise your hand again, I can call on you so you can ask that question. Okay, David, you should be able to unmute yourself again.
Yeah, Clyde, you guys made such a strong run to get back in the game there in the second half after falling down, but the offensive rhythm just wasn't there in the final 3 minutes. What happened?
Just give credit to Rutgers. They're a gritty team just like us. I think they did a lot of things to disrupt us, and at the end of the day, they hustled more than we did tonight. They got to the loose balls, and like I said, they just hustled a little bit more. One or two 50-50 balls would have went our way. The game would have been totally different, I believe.
Okay, we'll go to Lou Bezak from the state. Lou, if you'll unmute yourself and ask your question.
Clyde, what are you going to take from your 4 years? What remember the most and the impact? What's Clemson basketball meant to you these last 4 years?
It's been great. I think a lot of programs around the country they focus mainly on basketball, and throughout my recruitment process, I knew that I wanted to go to a school that was going to develop me as a basketball player, but also a man. And I think Coach Brownell and his approach to everyday life, I think, has helped me and all the other seniors, me, Amir, and JB. I think we're not only leaving as better basketball players, but we're leaving as better men. And I think that's what Clemson basketball is. We have great players, but we're also developing like men too. So yeah, that's really the biggest thing I'm gonna take away is from Clemson.
Our next question comes from Joseph Gorcho with WIS-TV. Joseph, if you'll unmute yourself and ask your question.
Clyde, congrats on a great season. I know it's not what you wanted tonight in terms of the outcome, but what do you think you proved to people who may have never seen you play before on this stage to do what you did in that stretch to score 11 points, I believe, in a row for your team to keep the Tigers in at that point and keep them in the lead? What did you prove to yourself in those moments, and what do you think you showed people at home watching you play for the first time?
I just think, my teammates just set me up for greatness. I think every time out that we came in, everybody just kept telling me to stay confident and stay ready. And I think throughout practices, throughout the whole year, I think I've showed flashes of being able to control a game. And just so happened today that I controlled the game for a short period of time there. And I think that just showed, like I said, shout out. And then Coach Brownell, too, called a couple plays for me down there in the stretch. And like I said, everybody just set me up for success right there. And I appreciate them for that.
Our next question from Carter Hill with the fifth quarter. Carter, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, Clyde. Congrats on a great season again. I know you're a senior, but for anyone doubting Clemson basketball going forward, what would your message be to them?
This loss right here, don't take it the wrong way, but this loss takes nothing away from our season. Like I said at the beginning, we've had so much adversity. We had a COVID pause there where we kind of lost our way, and I think the guys and Coach Brownell and the coaching staff, I think we did a great job of fighting back and finishing strong in the league. And like I said, I don't think people understand how hard it is to win these games. My 4 years here, I think, is prepared me to know how to win these games, and also it's taught me how to lose these games. So I want the people considering Clemson basketball in this program to know that we're on the up and up. It's proven. We've won these tough games. We've beaten the top of the top, these 4 seeds, 3 seeds, whatever. Like it's Clemson basketball isn't the bottom of the ACC, and we've been trying to fight for that respect all 4 years that I've been here. So.
Our next question comes from Matt Connolly with the State. Matt, if you can unmute yourself.
And I know you said you guys are on the up. Just who are some players to look out for next year, and how do you feel? I know you won't be a part of it, but how do you feel about the team that's coming back?
I mean, everybody you see on our roster, literally it can go for 10, 15 points in a matter of 10 minutes. So everybody on our roster is proven. with hard work, I think everybody on this team can be key contributors to this team next year. And I have all confidence in the coaching staff and Coach Brownell that they'll get these guys to where they need to be the next time you see us. So.
If there are any further questions for Clyde, please use the raise hand function. We'll go back to Matt Connolly with the state one more time. Matt, you can unmute yourself.
Can you just take me through that last possession where Amir had the ball, and just how much confidence do you have in him in those situations, and what did you see on that play?
Right. So basically, I was supposed to, just throw it to Amir and cut over. We made eye contact on the back cut. I have all confidence in the world in Amir. He's made that play so many times, and it's proven in Miami, Georgia Tech, Florida State. He made a late bucket off that play. So it was nothing different than any other game. We just had a bad draw of the hand, and like Coach Brownell said, I don't think he traveled. I'm anxious to watch it. But at the end of the day, Amir's made that play so many times everybody on the team had all the confidence in him, and nobody is blaming him for anything. We don't blame anybody. So it was just a bad draw of the hand right there, and it just didn't go our way.
Our next question to David Hood with TigerNet. David, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, Clyde, I think it's interesting that you come out and say that everybody's against you guys. And I know you guys, you hear it from the fans and you read the message boards. Do you ever feel like you just wish that some people, that surround this team would get behind Brownell and the program and just throw their full support in and see what happens?
Yeah, for sure. That's basketball. That's the profession. And Coach, I wish the people who say these crazy things about our program, I wish they would really sit in the office and talk to Coach Brownell. They see these wins and losses and the ups and downs of seasons, and they just, throw all their emotions in that. But if to get to know Coach Brownell, you will love his personality. You'll love him as a man. And it's just everybody on the team and me and Amir especially, since we've been here the most, we felt for him. We've actually had conversations with each other about how Coach Brownell gets all this backlash, and he just every day he comes in and he's ready to work. You know what I mean? And that's what a man does in his profession. You know what I mean? So we're grateful for him, and like I said, not only has he taught us things, we've learned from him just being who he is. So like I said, it's crazy that people will say that, but that's the profession. Coach Brownell knows that, and he knows that his team is behind him just as much as he's behind us.
And last question we have time for, we'll go to Josh Needleman with the Charleston Post and Courier. Josh, if you can unmute yourself.
Clyde, on that last point, have you ever talked to Coach Brownell about that directly? And if people were to sit down in those meetings and see his personality, what would they learn about him?
I haven't talked to Coach Brownell directly about it, but I know that he feels because coaches are human too. You know what I mean? So just like we read things on Twitter, Coach Brownell can read things on Twitter. You know what I mean? So I know that he's seen it, and he knows that we know he sees it, and the best thing for us to do is just be there and let him know that we support him just as much as he supports us. And if people were to sit there and talk to Coach Brownell, they will figure out that he's human. Like he's a great man. He wants the best for every single player on the team, from the star player to the walk-ons on the team. Like, he holds everybody to the same standard and doesn't expect anything under that standard. And I think that's a quality in a person that everybody should strive to have. So,
Clyde, thank you so much for your time today. We'll let you get back to the locker room.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us here. That's it for this post-game news conference. A transcript will be provided by ASAP Sports and posted along with the recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at www.ncaa.verit1.com. Thank you again for joining us.